जय श्री राधे कृष्णा। आप सभी का स्वागत है एडीजे न्यूज में। आप जैसा कि आज जानते हैं कि हम आजकल बातों का एक सेक्शन कर रहे हैं जिसका नाम हमने रखा है बातें। आज इसका 15 एपिसोड हम शूट कर रहे हैं मिस जूनी जी के साथ, जो कि एक कम्युनिकेशन कोच और ईक्यू स्पेशलिस्ट है। आइए उनके बारे में उनसे जानते हैं और कम्युनिकेशन कोच की क्या नीड होती है और ईक्यू क्या होता है, इस विषय पे भी हम उनसे जानेंगे। सो मैम, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका एडीजे न्यूज में।
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aditya, for that wonderful introduction and the warm welcome.
मैम, हम चाहेंगे कि आप हमारी ऑडियंस को अपने बारे में थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन और दें ब्रीफ में, कि आप क्या हैं, आप कहाँ से बिलोंग करते हैं, आप क्या काम कर रहे हैं। तो थोड़ा सा इंटरेक्शन इजीली हो पाएगा हम लोगों का आपकी ऑडियंस से। प्लीज।
Definitely. I am a communication and EQ coach, जैसे आपने अभी कहा. I deal with helping people. And when I say people, I include students, professionals, all individuals to strengthen their communication skills with a better understanding of their emotions. Now, why I do this, I'll come to that a little later. To give you an idea, I did my MBA in International Business from IIT Delhi. And uske dauran, I was working in the corporate sector for about 10 plus years in different companies, in different roles, right from training to business development to market research, brand management. But one thing that I noticed that in all my different roles, one thing that remained constant was communication and my passion for it. So in the early days of my career, I had witnessed a lot of people struggling with expressing themselves and also to connect well with others. A lot of people face issues in this. And this is what got me thinking, can I do something to help people express themselves with greater confidence so that they can connect better with others, build stronger relationships, not just at the workplace, but even in their own personal lives. And that interest got me into this field of communication. I decided to do my certification from the International Coaching Federation and from NLP in the area of communication and emotional intelligence. Now, why these two areas have been taken up together? Because ultimately, how we feel is going to affect the way we express. So when we understand what we feel, the way we think, and how we perceive and understand people, that helps us come up with better responses. That helps us communicate more effectively. So bettering or strengthening your communication skill is important, but doing it with better EQ awareness can ensure you become a more effective communicator. Right? So
That's
this field of training and coaching has been, I would say, an amazing journey for me. And now with over 17 years, I have worked with over 3,000 individuals, right from the age of 6 right up to 60 years. And there's so many positive experiences have come. And this desire to help more people led to the launch of our own online training venture known as the Fifth Mantra. So now this venture has been over a year old, and we are working with lot many institutions and individuals and continuing work in the area of both communication and EQ.
यो या ओके।
Yes.
तो अभी आप इसके बारे में बता रही थी, दैट्स रियली नाइस थिंग। बट अभी एज वी ऑल नोटिस मैम, देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन गैप happen between two people or two organizations in everyday life due to some reasons. So what you feel, how they can improve these things on it?
I would completely agree with you on the use of that word communication gap. Um, am I visible, Aditya?
You are not visible, ma'am, actually.
Just a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost the connection.
it's okay.
Yeah. So this word that you used, the gap, this is something that is common to every person, right? We will face situations where we will feel people are not able to understand us or we are not able to understand others. There is some problem in the way we comprehend those words. We don't know how to choose our words or how to ensure that our message is put forward in a clear manner. This is something we face very commonly. But one thing that comes up in this area is language. A lot of people who come to us, they tell us that I am very weak in communication because I am weak in English. But this is where I would like to highlight that language is only a part of communication. Language is not equal to communication, right? You can be a good communicator in any language. Whether you speak Marathi, Bengali, or Tamil, it does not matter. So the thing that, yes, if you are good in English, it adds to your confidence. You are able to express more clearly. That is an advantage. But if your English is weak, that does not mean you are a bad communicator. Is the person able to understand what you say? Is the person able to connect with you? Do they think you are a people friendly person, more positive and open to sharing ideas? That is the mark of a good communicator, right? So when you talk of communication gaps, people normally highlight English or not knowing the language as one of the gaps. But that's a very, very small gap. What we have to build on are the certain other areas of communication. For example, non-verbal, body language. Non-verbal is a part of communication, which is, they say, almost 93%. That means 7% only is what you speak that matters in communication. But how you present yourself, your expressions, your gestures, the way you carry yourself, and your ability to understand people, to be patient, to have good listening skills, all this is such an important part of communication, right? So when we work with people, the first thing we do is to help identify what are their communication gaps. Sometimes people are very good in English, but they still are not very effective communicators. That means there are other areas that need to be identified. What are the areas that you will need to strengthen, and what are the areas that you are good at? So many times we don't realize that we are good in many things. We are so focused on our gaps and weaknesses, we ignore our strengths. There are some people who are naturally very good listeners, and listening is an important part of communication. So can we use that more, right? So instead of focusing only on speaking, we also need to understand communication is a lot about listening, about connecting, about clarity, about confidence. Speaking is just one part. So identifying those gaps correctly, just like a doctor does a correct diagnosis, is very important for the treatment to be effective. There is no point in simply taking any treatment and thinking I'm going to become a good communicator.
That's really true, ma'am. I agree with you because if you are a good listener, then you can better have a knowledge of anyone. You get a great knowledge and you grab a great knowledge. If you speak, you speak, and you get nothing. That's true. Okay, so what you had shared enough starting of this interview, that the reason why you are in this field, but maybe there's someone is motivates you, or there's some motivational story behind the same. So we also want to know that how you become the EQ and communication coach. What's the motivation between behind it?
One, I would say any idea, and not just communication, any idea can become a career opportunity or can become an area where you excel if you have an interest in it, first of all, right? As I shared with you, though I had experience in varied profiles and roles, my passion for communication always remained a constant. And I did realize no matter which profile I took up, my ability to express myself always helped me in every role. And when I used to see other people struggle, they may be having a lot of ideas, they may be confident people, a lot of experience they have, yet they are not able to work well in a team, or they have problems with their superiors. They are not able to handle their subordinates well. So then I realized communication is something which is at the backbone. It is not a choice. It is not like a skill, like, let's say, I'm talking of martial arts. It's an important skill, but I can make a choice whether I want to train in it or not. But communication is not a skill like that, where it's a choice. We need it in our everyday life. All our relationships, all our work depends on how we can communicate and connect with people. There is no role and no person in this world who can say, I can survive without communication, right? So, this realization and the fact that I had a passion for it made me realize I need to train myself further in it so that I can train others as well. And that is what started the journey. And the more I work with people, when you have good outcomes, you have good feedback coming in, that gives you more confidence to reach out even more, to attempt even more. So when you ask me the reason why I came about into this field, it was that initial realization. But what has kept me going is the fact that it is helping people. And when people come back and tell you that this thing has really helped me handle my situation better, handle my career better, handle my relationships better, there is nothing that is more gratifying than that.
That's really true, ma'am. I totally agree with that. This is the way we like to say. Yeah, what will be the challenges you have faced once you start your journey in any field, whether it's a business, whether it's a self-employed, whether it's a job. So, what type of challenges you have faced in it? What type of situations you have faced? There might be sometimes you also face that people can't understand what you wanna explain to them because of they do it's a new thing. So what type of situations or what type of challenges you have faced in this journey, ma'am?
I would say it is a challenge as well as an advantage. The awareness, the lack of awareness. The lack of awareness is a challenge because not too many people are aware that this kind of training is available, this kind of training is essential, and how it can help them. But at the same time, it is an advantage because people are not aware. There is a natural curiosity to find out what is this all about, right? So we have seen there aren't too many people doing what we do. Yes, you have a lot of material and content on YouTube and on Google about communication. It's something everyone knows. Everybody is aware of certain words and terms like body language, like presentation skills, public speaking. People are aware of it. But people are not aware on what are the areas they have to work on. And that cannot happen through any video recording or through any PDF file that you read. You need somebody to observe you and tell you, this is the area you need to work more on, and this is how you do it. So that is why we at the Fifth Mantra are doing a very different kind of work in a very regular industry. Communication training is very commonly found, yet what is offered by us is very unique because everything is live and everything is personalized. So we interact with each.
uh, your voice is missing, ma'am. Please. So you are telling that the things are so I have a one question over here. As we all know that YouTube have a great knowledge. मतलब अगर बोले तो आज यूनिवर्सिटी है गूगल और यूट्यूब बट मैंने उसमें एक चीज ऑब्जर्व की है जो आप भी बता रहे हो बहुत सारे लोग समझ रहे हैं कि स्ट्रक्चर्ड नहीं है स्टेप बाय स्टेप नहीं है वो रॉ पड़ा हुआ है आप उसे स्टेप बाय स्टेप नहीं सीख सकते तो that's the benefit I feel if you get personalized with any coach or something and I feel the same service you are providing the same so ma'am what your suggestions for the same that what the difference between YouTube structure and any personalized structure? We all know that, but sometimes we can't understand it well. So can you please elaborate it for us?
to get a basic foundation or knowledge about a subject, a certain groundwork, YouTube and Google can be of great help, right? Because you don't have to go searching in multiple places for information. Today, you type communication in Google or in YouTube, the sheer number of videos that come up about body language, about the various vocabulary building skills, how to improve grammar. There are so many aspects of communication that are covered, which is wonderful. For a person sitting in any part of the world, you have access to all that knowledge. So that's a huge advantage. But now, once you get that awareness and knowledge, how do you apply it? The application part is where you need guidance. It is just like you undertake physical training. You can watch videos on yoga, you can watch videos on aerobics or Zumba and pick up steps. You get an understanding. What is this style? Will it be comfortable for me? Will I be interested in doing it? So that initial groundwork, these social media will definitely help you out with. But after that, when I'm doing it, how do I ensure I do not get injured? How do I ensure it is done in the correct manner? That is where a trainer or a coach comes in. And in fact, I may have unique health problems, or I may have certain physical issues where I'm not supposed to do certain things that only a trainer can tell me. So same is the case with communication. I can use YouTube, get a lot of knowledge, read up on various topics, build my awareness. So this thing that you said, EQ, a lot of people are not aware. YouTube and Google is a great way to build that awareness. I can read up. I can look for explanation in different languages or in different sites. But once I get that awareness, how do I apply it? That is where I will need a trainer to tell me that this style will suit me. This style should not be attempted. Or what are the ways I can improve certain things? That feedback is something which YouTube cannot provide. A personal or an individualized attention is required then. And especially if we want to make an impact. I mean, there are a lot of people doing a lot of courses on LinkedIn and on various other sites. But they find that after doing all those courses, there is no real change happening. You are able to say, I completed 10 courses, I have 10 certificates, but you are not able to bring that change visible in a visible manner. That's because you don't know how to apply it. And that's where a personal training can actually help you understand how to use that knowledge better.
That's true. I totally agree with that, ma'am. Okay, so we have a good discussion on that, and you also shared about the EQ and the communication strength. So let me ask you one second last question to you, ma'am. For example, if somebody has a good EQ, okay, but his communication skills are not that developed, so how the things will go on? Because you have shared that about the language barriers. Okay, you also shared that body language speaks better 93%. So now what in that situation, what type of things will happen with the person? Because as I see, I met many corporates, you also met many corporates, so you have noticed that there are lots of person who facing such problem and they can't even communicate with anyone for the same. They just feel the word called inferior complex is that
Right.
it's inside of them, so how they can get over of it, override from that thing? Can you please share that with us also?
This what you said in the beginning, if somebody has good EQ. Now, Aditya, the reality is all of us are constantly evolving, right? Who we were as people 5 years back will not be the same as who we will be 5 years later. So we are constantly changing. There are new experiences coming in life. We keep meeting new people. There are new incidents and events that happen in our lives which change us, which modify us. So EQ is never a stage where we can reach and say, now I have finished. I have achieved good EQ, right? It's not like IQ where certain skills can be built up and you can say, I have achieved a certain level. It can be measured. EQ is more about constantly working on building attitudes, certain mindsets. And it is important that we keep doing it. It is not something that we attend one program and it's done, right? But having said that, if somebody has, let's say, a strong EQ, now such a person will naturally have certain qualities. Let's say the person is not able to communicate, but the person will be confident. The person will be patient. The person will be someone who is very respectful of other people, someone who is willing to listen to others, who is okay with handling criticism. So there are so many qualities that come in for a person with strong EQ, and nobody is going to dislike a person like that. Even if the person says sentences with wrong grammar, other people will still be willing to understand it, not necessarily to make fun of it, right? So when we are talking of building EQ skills, we will have to look at the way our beliefs are. What are our values? What are those things that are very important to us? Why are they important to us? Can we have some changes in the way we look at people? Because we all have biases, right? It is not that only others have biases. We all have biases. We will constantly say statements like, oh, this person is always like that. Oh, this community is always like that. We use these words like always, never, so carelessly without realizing that it is never the truth. Just because we think that way does not mean the whole world has to think that way, right? So EQ is about building empathy, about understanding that there are going to be different opinions, different kinds of people, and we all can coexist. It's not necessary we have to change others or others have to change us. So empathy, rapport building, kind of building confidence in ourselves, all this is part of EQ. When that happens, communication also improves. Both influence each other. If I have good communication skills, it can improve my EQ. But other way around also works. If I can build my EQ skills, I become a better person. And when I become a better person, obviously the way I treat others will be better. The way I express myself with them will be better. So both are very closely tied. So when you talk of corporate leaders, excuse me, who may not be good with communication skills, skills can always be picked up, right? Nobody is born a great communicator. Everybody becomes better with time, with training, and with correct guidance. But building on EQ skills is equally important, not just for a leader, for every individual. Because ultimately, we need a IAS officer, an army officer, all that comes second. First and foremost, we have to build on becoming better people. So better EQ, uh, concentrating on building our EQ skills will ensure we become good professionals, we become good family members, and we become good members in society as well. Right? So communication can always be built. It cannot be done in a day or in just one program or in one year. But the more I work on it correctly, definitely the results are going to be visible.
That's true. Okay, so that's the last question I have. What message you want to share to the society for this related to your skill and how they can achieve their dreams by using the best communication and EQ? So can you please share that message also, ma'am?
As I mentioned earlier, communication skill is a necessity, right? And we need to understand how important it is. Communication skill is not only for a presentation or to clear a group discussion or to clear an interview. Communication is essential even when you're talking to your neighbor or you're talking to that vendor who's selling something on the street or to your best friend or to someone you have a problem with. Communication skill is equally important in all these areas. So when we understand how essential it is for us, that is the starting point. After that, we look for ways. How can I build these skills? Where can I go? Who can help me with this? And that's where I would recommend getting a trainer. A good trainer will definitely help you identify what are your strong areas, what are your weak areas, improve on it with the correct approaches, and consistently keep practicing. Nobody can become a good communicator without communicating, right? The more you speak, the more you interact with people, the more confident you become, the more comfortable you become with expressing yourself. Sitting in a room hoping that your skills will develop will not happen. You have to go out there, interact with people. And how will you interact with people? Unless you feel happy meeting people. So EQ also comes in there. Look at people as amazing stories to discover. Every human being out there has a life journey. Nobody is similar. Isn't that fascinating? You can discover so many good things about people out there. That is an inspiration. Pick up good qualities from others, see what they do, try and imitate those good things. And if there are qualities that you don't find comfortable, let it be. You don't have to judge people, you don't have to criticize them or humiliate them. Each person has their own journey, right? So the more open you become to new experiences, new people, you will find your communication skills, your EQ skills, and even success in your professional life becomes easier to achieve.
दैट्स रियली नाइस मैम एंड मुझे काफ़ी खुशी है कि आप हमारे मंच पे आई और आपने अपने सारी इंफॉर्मेशन को शेयर किया हमारे साथ, अपनी जर्नी शेयर की। एंड इट्स रियली हैव अ नाइस सेक्शन विद यू मैम। एंड हम उम्मीद करेंगे कि आगे भी हम आपके साथ कम्युनिकेट करते रहें, चीज़ों में हम लोग आपसे नॉलेज लेते रहें, मेरी ऑडियंस। और जिनको भी कम्युनिकेशंस और ईक्यू से रिलेटेड कोर्सेज करने हैं, आई विल शेयर मैम वेबसाइट एंड कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन। आप वहां से मैम को कांटेक्ट करके अपने कोर्सेज के बारे में जान सकते हैं, चीजों को जान सकते हैं, ताकि आप उससे अवेयर हो सके। So at the end, I just want to say that it's a really nice communication with you, ma'am. And Jai Shri Radhe Krishna, and thanks for your time, ma'am.
Thank you so much to you, Aditya, and to ADJ News for carrying out such a wonderful initiative to help people build their skills, to help people understand about new topics and areas. I think this is a wonderful initiative. So I hope your journey continues for a longer time with even more success.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.